Welcome to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds. This is the Royal Rebounds Podcast, live with Calvin and Barry. We're having fun here. We are discussing Sacramento Kings 109-108 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Alex Len starts tonight. Neemias Queta plays. We have a little bit of insight there, Cal.
Yeah, I was really, really happy to see Keita out there, and I was also really, really happy with what I saw from him on the court. The fact that he finished the game there at the end speaks volumes for not only how he was playing, but the trust that the coaching staff is in him already, and it was the right move. I mean, he had the size, and he has more athleticism than Alex Len. He has the ability to play in space better, which against this team was I think, absolutely the right move.
Yeah, we'll be right back with your nightcap. We're here. I'm drinking a beer, and we're talking about your Sacramento Kings. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you enjoy content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. This is your Sacramento Kings Nightcap. So, as we mentioned, Cal, Kings lose tonight 109-108 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. De'Aaron Fox has a chance to win the game at the end there. Comes up just a little bit short. What are your thoughts on the game tonight?
Well, like everybody is saying in the chat here, it was obviously refreshing to watch a competitive game rather than a game that they just lose from start to finish and they're never in. And in this game, the Cavs had all their players too. I mean, not Colin Sexton, but they haven't really had him all season. This was pretty much their full roster, and the Kings still battled with them. Not a good matchup for Sacramento at all. You know, the Cavs really built their lead by going inside, and that is obvious with the height and size advantage that they have. Kings were able to battle back, took advantage of the Cavs taking too many threes. They did not shoot well from three tonight. But in the end, the Cavs went back to their advantage inside, despite a heroic effort from the Kings late. Just wasn't quite enough. But at the end of the day, I know this is still a loss, but it was refreshing, and I was happy to actually watch this game as opposed to the last few.
Yeah, you're right. Much more competitive than the last few games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, the Kings were up 5 points in this game at one point. They were down by 13. They were down at the end of every single quarter in this game. You know, a good quote from Mark Jones in this game. They played good defense for 21 seconds of the shot clock. I think, you know, if anything sums up a Sacramento Kings season, it's that right there, right? Is 21 seconds of great defense, and either they let up a good shot or they let up a rebound. Second chance points definitely killed the Kings this year. 15-4 run by the Cavs to end the first quarter. And, yeah, another Kings loss.
Another Kings loss. Yeah, it just felt like when the Cavs initially got up to that double-digit lead, the Kings would play well in spurts, and they would start to work their way back. They'd get it to 7, 6, 5, but then there would be a back-breaking play, you know, whether it was at the end of the quarter or the end of the half. Chetty Osman hits some ridiculous three, you know, at the buzzer the end of the first quarter. Rondo hits a 30-foot three. You know, those are not shots that you would expect to go in, but the Cavs got them to fall repeatedly. So it's just it was unfortunate in that regard that even when the Kings were playing at their best, the Cavs still found ways, and that weren't, you know, what you would expect. It wasn't an alley-oop to Jared Allen or going inside to Evan Mobley. It was these other plays that you think probably 9 times out of 10 aren't going to go the way that they did. So unfortunate there. It's already hard to come back against a team like this, but when you get those plays on top of it, makes it that much harder.
Yeah, and a double-double for Darius Garland tonight. Also a double-double for Jared Allen. We saw some good plays by Kevin Love. We saw some good shots by Cedi Osman. A really, really tough night tonight for Sacramento.
Cedi Osman is like that guy when you go play at the rec center and you look over and you're like, this guy isn't really that good, right?
Yeah.
Like I got this guy. And then all of a sudden he's making some crazy three. He just is so frustrating. Like I couldn't imagine playing against him. The whole time I'd be like, what the hell, man? We can't stop this guy? Come on.
I mean, I remember first watching this guy, and LeBron's on the team, and LeBron's like, he loves this guy. And I'm like, why, dude? Why does LeBron like this guy so much? Because I didn't feel like he was that great of a player, but apparently his work ethic is up there with the best of them, and he just continues to get better and better.
Well, he's a very quintessential role player, right? Like he's never going to try to do too much. He knows exactly what he needs to do on this team. He's a 3-point shooter and a cherry picker.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah. I mean, Vivek should like that, right? I want to give a couple shout-outs here. Makami, B. Walston, Fred, John, Kristen, Summer Lowe.
Shout out Mike Monticello with
Joey,
our first Hey Monty of the night.
Yeah,
and
Brendan,
it's a good one. Don't let Alex Landis shoot the 3. That is 100% correct.
Mike, Gothan, thank you guys all so much for joining us. We are happy to have you. Calvin and I, and Muhammad, Calvin and I love doing these lives because it gives us a chance to hang out with you all and have a good time. And we are ready for another awesome Royal Rebounds podcast. Hope you're all ready too. Make sure you guys smash up that like button. What's up, Jeff? How you doing? So yeah, as we mentioned, Kings lose again. One thing I saw, an interesting stat I saw during this game was between December and January, Tyrese is leading the league in 3-point percentage.
Yeah, another fantastic game for him. He seems to get more and more confidence from shooting from the outside every game. His stroke is beautiful. He does need a little bit of he doesn't have the quickest release, right? So he can't just catch and fire it up, kind of like Harrison Barnes did a few times tonight. Harrison Barnes, it was like as soon as he touched the ball, it was out of his hands. It was crazy.
Yep.
But Tyrese, that being said, the guy can really stroke it from outside.
Yeah, I'm digging that shirt you got on there.
Oh, thanks. Shout out to my mom and dad. They got me a Kings Team Store gift card for Christmas. So I got my new shirt and my new hat here. Hella proud. I guess I'm hella proud of the effort tonight because they didn't get the win. But, yeah. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
That's awesome. Joey says, I want Tyrese to average 15 shots a game.
It's going to be tough playing alongside De'Aaron Fox. I'll just say that. But,
yeah.
I mean, I can't really argue with that. I want him to shoot more. I think everybody wants him to shoot more. I still find there's like 3 or 4 times a game where I say out loud, shoot, or shoot the first one. He'll catch the ball and he like pump fakes, and then he does this like crossover, and I'm like, no, man, just shoot it right away.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've all played pickup ball with those guys, right? Where you're like, you throw them the ball and then they just pass it up again, and you're like, no, man, I gave it to you because you were open. Just shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. Shoot the effing ball. What's up, Ethan? I see you in here. Trade Fox, problem solved. I don't know about that, but thank you for the comment. All right, Cal. I want to jump here into the box score. You ready for that?
Let's do it.
I think before we do that real quick, I want to remind you all, you can follow us on Instagram at Royal Rebounds. You can check us out on Twitter, Royal_Rebounds. Or if you want to cop some fresh gear or check us out, just check out our website, RoyalRebounds.com. Make sure you guys hit it up. Bottom left corner of your screen should have all that information here. And hey, if you want to advertise with us, if you got an awesome brand, you got an awesome business, you want to be part of the Royal Rebounds podcast, we can put your logo down in the bottom right corner. Just send us an email, send us a text. Yeah. We'd love to have you here.
If you brew your own beer, you can send us a sample, and we'll drink it.
Exactly. All right, let's jump here into the box score, Cal.
All right, so we'll start with Tyrese Haliburton, 21 points on 8 of 16 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 8 more assists, 3 steals, 1 block. He was big time. De'Aaron Fox struggled shooting, 5 of 14 from the floor, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. That's all I'm going to talk about with the starters because the bench showed up tonight in a big way. It was one of my keys to the game, actually. Yeah, Buddy Hield, 19 points on 7 of 11 shooting. Might have been his best shooting performance all season. 5 of 8
Kyle
from 3.
Draper was one night early. On his prediction.
Yes. And he actually had a great all-around game. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, no turnovers. I said to our producer, Vinny, during the game, this may have been his best game of the season, actually, all things considered. Definitely wasn't his best scoring night, but his overall all-around game, I thought, was really good. And then Neemias Queta off the bench with 24 minutes, 11 points, 5 rebounds. I really loved what I saw from him. Metu played well as well, 5 of 11 shooting for 13 points. The Kings bench only scored, I think it was 22 points last night, and tonight they had 49.
Yeah.
And they played a better team tonight too. So,
you want to highlight anybody on the Cavs?
We can highlight Jared Allen for sure. 18 points, 17 rebounds. The guy was a monster. Evan Mobley was his usual
What team starts 3 7-footers?
It's crazy, man. And they get away with it too. Not just get away with it, like it actually works for them because of the style of play of these guys. Markkanen is like a perimeter player for a 7-footer. Mobley had 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And then, Chetty Osman and Kevin Love, big time off the bench, 15 points and 18 points, respectively.
Yeah, a couple things that really stood out to me tonight. You know, the Kings shot 46% from three-point range, almost 47%, as opposed to 29% for the Cavaliers. You don't see that very much.
That was the reason the Kings kept it close.
Yeah, you don't see that
the Kings kept
very
it close,
much in a loss for the Sacramento Kings. 5 more rebounds tonight for the Cleveland Cavaliers. 9 more assists. You know, the Kings had 10 steals tonight, 3 blocks, only 12 turnovers. 12 turnovers for Sacramento, 17 for Cleveland. You know, points in the paint are pretty even. Fouls are pretty even. But Cleveland just, you know, they were a bigger and a better team tonight.
Yeah, it was just too much size, too much inside. Pick and roll is something that the Kings struggle with all the time, and having to guard the pick and roll against all these 7-footers who can both roll to the rim and step out and shoot the 3. I mean, you don't play teams like that very often. They're a really difficult team to guard. And Darius Garland had, you know, he's been playing really well all season long. He really struggled in this game. 5 of 13 from the floor. Did have 11 assists, but I thought the Kings did a really good job on him, especially in the first half. So it's unfortunate that, you know, you take away one of their primary players and you still can't quite come up with the victory.
Yeah, we saw Alex Len start tonight. Obviously, the Kings are missing Richaun Holmes big time. I think this is his, 6th consecutive game that he's missed. 10 rebounds tonight for Alex Len, 2 of 13 from the field. He attempted 2 threes, missed both of them, 4 points for him, 1 block, 1 turnover, 2 personal fouls. What'd you like, what'd you dislike from Alex Len tonight?
What I liked was just that he continues to use his body, his frame to battle inside. You know, that was something that the Kings really needed tonight. I was really happy, though, honestly, to see Alvin Gentry go with Queta late in this game, because Alex Len, there were times when he would get switched up, or Jared Allen wouldn't even be in the game. He would be guarding Evan Mobley or Lauri Markkanen. He has no chance against those guys. He just can't stay with them. He's a very traditional in-the-paint center. Keita actually has the foot speed, the defensive athleticism to be able to move out onto the perimeter and guard some of these guys. One of the things I love the most about him was, we talk a lot about pick and roll defense and how the Kings struggle with it. Keita is one of the only Kings big men that I've seen this year actually hedge and push the guard out further away from the basket off of the screen.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's absolutely huge. If your guard can't get through or can't get over the screen, that pretty much neglects or negates what the opposing team's trying to do and get the ball to the rim. It makes that roll and lob a lot harder because now you're moving further away from the basket. You got a 7-footer in front of you. And he has the speed to recover back. So I really liked what I saw from him tonight, and I hope that the Kings don't send him back down to the G League anytime soon. I think he needs to play more.
Yeah, I agree. Bobby Jackson's been doing a great job with him. Hopefully, Alvin Gentry and Doug Christie can continue on that. I love what I saw from him. 24 minutes tonight, 11 points, played great defense. Only 5 rebounds for him tonight, but I think he had a big impact on the game. I see Skip here. Skip, you want to join us for the second section? Hit up Calvin. We'd be happy to have you if you want to join us for Around
Anytime,
the Crown.
Man, we'd love to have you.
Yeah. Maybe here in a little bit if you want to call in, you're welcome to. All right, Cal. We saw Marvin Bagley start again, 20 minutes tonight, 8 points, 10 rebounds. What'd you see from Marvin Bagley tonight?
Just more of the same. He continues to be an absolute beast on the offensive glass. His timing is great. Just the positioning they have him in on the court, that's by far and away the best attribute that he's bringing to this team right now. He still needs more development offensively. The guy really only has 2 moves. It's a pump fake, drive to the left-hand hook shot, or it's a pump fake, jab step to the left, 2 dribbles to the right, spin move back to the left-hand hook shot. You can be effective with those moves, but if it's all you got, it's going to be hard, especially on a team that has a lot of size. It's going to be really hard to score over and over again using that same move like we saw tonight. He struggled to get shots to fall at the rim. I really wish that he would develop maybe more of a mid-range shot. We know he struggles shooting the 3, but I think if he had a solid 15 to 17-foot jumper, that would add a dimension to his game that would then allow him for that pump fake drive to the left to be a little bit more devastating against defenses. But other than that, I just continue to like to see the fight from him. And they definitely needed his energy early on in this game. He was the only guy I felt like that came out of the gates really, really ready to play.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've continued to praise Marvin Bagley after being very critical of him at the start of the season. We won't go back into that stuff, but very happy what I've seen from him as of lately. I'd like to see a little bit more than 8 points from him. But as you mentioned, they don't run a lot of offense through him. So Marvin Bagley's points are basically clean up. He's kind of garbage guy down below, grabs rebounds, puts back, stuff like that. De'Aaron Fox tonight, 31 minutes, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Not a great offensive performance for De'Aaron Fox tonight, but, I thought he was very engaged in the game. Unfortunately, he missed that shot at the end. It was a little bit short, but what'd you think?
We're a little zoomed in here, Vinny. It was one of those games where he struggled to get his shots to fall. I thought he was taking good shots for the most part. He never really got into much of a rhythm, and he kind of sat for a while in the second half, especially the fourth quarter. I was a little surprised. When there was about 6 minutes left, that was right before the Cavs went on that final run that really put things away. I was thinking in my head, where is Fox? They need to put him back in the game. They were struggling to score at that point. Davion Mitchell, he played better than he has over the past few games. He still was good on defense. Got a few more shots to fall, but at the same time, I was thinking man, they need Fox right now. They need a little shot of energy, that speed, It's a game changer defensively. And I was glad to see Fox hit those 2 free throws at the end to pull it to 1. After missing both free throws in Charlotte that could have won the game, good to see him knock those 2 down. And at the end, he got a good look. That's right in his sweet spot. I did think they were coming out of that timeout, and I said, I hope they run this play through Tyrese. They didn't, which makes sense. Fox is supposed to be the guy,
He's your
right?
guy. Yeah.
So you go to him, but I really think that they should have run that last play through Tyrese, especially after the game he had. He was having a really good fourth quarter. He had a good mismatch on him, too. He had Markkanen on him for most of that fourth quarter, which, you go at that matchup all day long if you're the Kings. So unfortunate to see that, and unfortunate that he missed the shot.
I mean, we talk about him being the best player on the squad. Was it right for him to take that last shot, in your opinion?
Was it right for him to take the shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was right. I mean, like I said, he got to his spot on the court. He got a shot, a look that he has hit over and over and over and over again for a long time now. He struggled, obviously, early on in the season, but that's a shot that I will live with De'Aaron Fox taking 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
It didn't go in tonight. That maybe it was that 10th time, or maybe and like I said, I would have liked to have seen, just because of the way things were going in the game, maybe Tyrese get the ball. If he didn't have a shot, maybe he could kick it to Metu or Buddy Hield, who had been shooting a lot better as well. But yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with him taking that shot.
Joey says, I felt like on that last play, the Kings took too long to get the offense going, spent half the time left on the clock just getting Fox the ball.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there is something to be said about starting the play early enough so that if the shot is missed, you have an opportunity for an offensive putback or a rebound and a second chance opportunity. But again, at the end of the day, when you get a shot that you normally feel pretty comfortable with about the player taking that shot, whether it's with 3 seconds left or 1 second left, it doesn't make too much of a difference, I think.
Yeah, I agree. You getting Skip all situated?
Yeah, I just sent him the link to join the Zoom.
Perfect. So. All right, we'll have him join us in the second part. Afghan says, Bagley is no bueno. Bagley has a better second jump than Luka, though that's why we took him. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. No use living in the past. Luka's not on the team. Bagley is, and you got to be happy with whatever you get out of him.
Right. Neither Barry and I are saying that he's lived up to the number 2 pick or that he's better than Luka or anything like that. But at this point, you got to just evaluate what you have. 3 or 4 years in? 4 years in, right?
4th year, yeah.
And given the way he started with not playing and him and Luke Walton being completely disconnected, what he is giving them right now is very important. This is not a good rebounding team. Everybody I've seen in the chat is like, fuck small ball. Well, Marvin Bagley is one of the bigger guys on this team, so he actually gives you some size to use at the power forward position. He's not an all-star, but he's a guy that can definitely help them in some areas here.
Yeah, and the Kings actually made some shots tonight. We talked about last night. They only scored 88 points in that game. We talked about they just need to make some shots, and they actually did make some shots tonight. Only 108. I like to see them score a little more than that. But, they were able to make some shots tonight. It's another game at home.
Well, and again, remember, this is a really good defensive team. The Cavs allow the second fewest points in the league, so it's hard to score on this team.
Yeah, and they're a much better Cavs team than we give them credit for. And, everyone thinks the Cavs, they're like, oh, no LeBron James. The Cavaliers, like, oh, they should lose. The Cavaliers should lose. But this Cavs team is actually a good team, and they've done a great job building around this squad. I love Jared Allen. I love Mobley. I love Garland. This team is actually a very, very good team.
Hey, Monty, I hope you were watching the game tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a look at the Cavaliers. You could learn a thing or two.
And we'll touch on that in our second subject here. But I want to touch on my guy Tyrese. 36 minutes for Tyrese tonight, 21 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, a block. We saw him jump in the passing lanes again. I think he's one of the best guys in the league at doing that, because every single game I constantly see him just jumping out, grabbing a ball. It seems like almost like the ball is passed to him on the defensive end of the floor, and he just grabs it, and then everybody runs down the court. What do you think about Tyrese's game tonight?
He played a hell of a game. He was good in all areas tonight for the Kings. And, yeah, you're right. He's a very, very smart player. It's clear he watches a lot of film, because if you're, standing directly in the area where a pass gets sent to time and time again, it's because you either are watching a lot of film, you know what they like to run, or when a certain set or a certain look happens and he's in the off ball, all NBA teams have 2 guys in the corner on pretty much every play.
Yeah.
Because that's the game. It's pick and roll, drive to the middle. You're either looking for an easy shot, you're looking for that lob, the defense collapse, you have your release valves out in the corner for threes. Mm-hmm. He knows that. So he always seems to be able to cut off that corner pass from the weak side.
Yeah, we saw Kevin Love have a good game tonight. 18 points for him, 2 of 8 from three-point range, 21 minutes. We also saw Dean Wade, 5 minutes tonight play. Osman, we saw Rondo playing pretty well for them. Another tough loss for Sacramento. Not that you and I expected them to win this game. We've been looking ahead and we're saying, okay, well, these games against the Rockets might be the Kings' next opportunity for a win, or maybe against the Pistons. I know they play the Lakers on Wednesday night, but this Kings team is just, as much as I love the team, I think you have a point where you come to and you say, this is not a good basketball team. And I think that's where I'm at. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. They're not a good basketball team. We've been talking for I don't even know how long about the same things over and over again. They got to make changes. They got to make some moves. The roster's got to change. Do they either blow it up and go for a total rebuild? Do they make a desperation type trade, somebody like a Ben Simmons that you think could help immediately? Whatever it is, something's got to happen, because the same thing cannot continue.
Yeah, I agree with Fred here. The Kings first need an identity, 100%. B. Walston's talking about how empty the arena is. You and I mentioned that a couple games ago. I know the hashtag, boycott the Kings has been trending. Not something that I really support, but I understand people's frustration. I understand the goal. And, Monty hasn't made any bad moves, but how long does it take to not make a move before it becomes a bad move, right?
Yeah.
So, I definitely feel your guys' pain here. B. Walston says under 5.5 years till the Kings are sold to Vegas. I think that probably would have happened more likely if the Maloofs held the Kings, because Maloofs have a lot of ties to Vegas. We heard about Steve Ballmer trying to buy the Kings and move them to Seattle. The vet kept them in Sacramento. But, yeah. Kristen says,
the fans have spoken. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys.
I thought you wanted Peja.
Well, my whole thing was that after so much tough games and so many difficult losses, that Peja, just like the rest of us, was actually refreshed to have watched a good competitive basketball game, so he was going to turn around. But I understand now you guys are way more observant, and it's heard. Your opinions are heard, yeah. So he's turned around.
Peja's not happy right now. Brendan says, if you look at the 18-19 highlights, first the Kings, everyone was everyone was having fun and playing faster, completely different now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of truth to that statement. I thought they played faster tonight, definitely faster than I've seen them play in the past few games.
Yeah. And it's, nobody's having fun at this point because they're losing games and everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else. It's something I mentioned about, firing Luke Walton was everyone wanted Luke Walton fired. And, I was in that boat too. But once Luke Walton's fired, it's like your scapegoat is gone.
Yeah.
So who does it fall on now? Is it Tyrese's problem? Is it Fox's problem? Is it Harrison Barnes? Now everyone's looking at Fox. They're all looking at the GM and they're saying, do something, do something. I've seen some funny memes of, the guy with the stick poking and he's like, do something, Monty, do something, make something happen. Responsibility is falling on these guys now because Luke Walton was shouldering that load, and now that he's gone, it's got to fall on somebody else. Can't be Luke's fault at this point. But, the Kings are still losing basketball games.
Yeah, they indeed are.
And 18-19, they were probably on a better streak right now than they are. Kristen says, I think we'd be in a much worse situation if Luke was still coach. I don't know. Silver
It's
lining.
very, very possible. It's hard to really say. I'm not sure, but.
Hair and Beard Podcast says, I didn't expect to win today. The only thing helping me is that my Raiders are in the playoffs. Yeah, I agree with you. And actually, if you want to come on the podcast tonight,
talk about a hell of a game.
We'd be happy to have you. We're going to have Skip and Tosh here in a little bit. But if you want to be on the podcast as well, just send us a message on Instagram, and we'll get you on right after Skip's done. All right, Cal, what else you want to talk about this game? Kings lose 109-108. We talked about, another good rebounding game from Marvin Bagley, Alex Len. I think Tyrese Haliburton played the best out of all the starters tonight. Buddy Hield was contributing from the bench. We saw Keita. We saw Metu back playing well. But, the Kings still lose this game.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it's a 1-point game. It came down to the last shot. This is a really good team. They battled back multiple times in this game. So, yes, it is still a loss. But there are, and I know it seems difficult in the midst of a 5-game losing streak and another disappointing sub-500 season, but there are lots of positives to take away from this game. The question is, now you have to actually they talk all the time in the Kings organization about stacking days. This is a day that you could stack. You could get better from this game. I'm not saying they could turn around and make, the 4 seed in the playoffs, but you can build and get better off of this game. The question is, do they do it? Do they continue to play hard on defense? Do they continue to make big defensive plays in key moments like that Fox poke away from Evan Mobley down the stretch there? Those are plays that, a couple weeks ago you wouldn't have ever dreamed of seeing from the Kings.
Yeah. You want to touch on your keys of the game?
Yeah, we can go over those real quick. I already kind of touched on one of them. The bench production was big, and the Kings got it in spades tonight with 49 points off the bench.
Oh, man. Horseman Healed. That's hilarious. When Calvin's done, I got to hear how you came up with this nickname.
Yeah, because we have a name for him that's very similar to that. Number 1 is shoot well from outside. And the Kings, for the most part, they did that. I mean, not for the most part. They definitely did that. 46 and 46.7% from 3 is probably one of their better shooting performances from 3 all season long. And number 2 was everyone hits the defensive glass. The Cavs are such a tough team to rebound against, but the rebounding was pretty even. It was only +5 for Cleveland. Sacramento actually had 1 more offensive rebound than the Cavs. So they did a good job for the most part on all these keys, and they had a chance to win the game, as a result. All right, but let's go back to the Horseman here.
Well, real quick, looking at the team stats, it's pretty wild thinking, that the Kings had more shots in this game. They made more threes in this game. Free throws, they took more free throws. They made more free throws. Rebounds were pretty even. A lot of these stats were pretty even, and the Kings lose the game. So for me, it comes down to toughness. It comes down to overcoming adversity. And, the Cavaliers are just a team that's in a better position than the Sacramento Kings. They have more confidence. I think the coaching staff trusts the players more. And, that's not a knock on Alvin Gentry or anything like that. It's hard to trust your players when you're constantly losing games. But you just see more consistency through this Cavs team than in Sacramento.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it comes down to just late game execution. The Cavs executed their plays down the stretch. They went inside to their advantage, whether it was Allen or Mobley. They got timely bucket after timely bucket, and they corrected the fact that they were shooting too many threes early in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
I'm sure JB Bickerstaff looked at them and said, you guys, what the hell? We have so much size on this team. Pound the ball inside. And that's what they did. They went on a big run. And in the end, the Kings battled their way back, but late game execution. Fox hits this shot. We're all celebrating a win tonight.
Yeah, Brendan says, without fans, they lose more hope and players play worse. Kristen agrees. B. Walston doesn't agree. He says it makes them work harder to put a better product on the court. How are you feeling, Cal, with that?
I'm not so sure. I mean, as a player, yeah, you definitely do draw from the energy of a full crowd for sure. But in terms of not having fans in the stands as extra motivation, that I don't really buy necessarily. When I was a player, and I don't want anybody to misconstrue this, I didn't play in front of 20,000 fans or anything like that.
Not yet.
But whether it was a packed house or there were 10 people in there, that didn't really change my focus on the game. And if you're a player and that does change your focus on the game, then you need to do some adjusting on how you think, because that's not going to make you be an effective player, period.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm just trying to get somebody in here to join us for the next section.
Yeah, Skip says he has a slight technical issue and he's working on it.
It's all good. We'll get everybody in here to join you guys, and we'll hear some awesome insights. So as far as the game goes, anything else you want to touch on, Cal, here? Mo Harkless didn't play tonight. No Tristan Thompson. No Woodard. No Ramsey. It says Thompson was out due to a right quad injury. He's usually available. This is like the NBA's Iron Man. I know he had a record for like most consecutive games played. Tristan Thompson, they brought him in to be a defensive presence, to get rebounds. My girl, she always laughs because she says he's the Kings' biggest cheerleader. And I think
I think he is, for
he's
sure.
Probably the most expensive cheerleader. I think he makes like $11 million or something this season. But playing a game against 3 7-footers, you'd think that Tristan Thompson would be involved. I don't know how bad the right quad injury is, but when you're missing your starting center, you need other guys to step up. And I expected Tristan Thompson to play a much bigger role in tonight's game.
Yeah, but in the end, it might have been a blessing in disguise because Keita got to play serious minutes, and I thought he was really effective. So, silver lining, I guess.
Yeah. So what do you expect from Keita in the future? You talked about you didn't want them to send him back down to the G League.
No, I think he needs to keep playing.
And he's more of a center, power forward to you?
Oh, he's 100% a center.
Okay.
100%. He's got a good-looking stroke at the free throw line, but I don't want him to be taking mid-range shots or threes anytime soon. But he has a really nice touch around the basket. I mean, we saw that really nice kind of half layup, half floater. It didn't count because it was after the shot clock expired. But that was a nice move. Dribble from the free throw line. He's got such a huge wingspan that he can get that shot off just about against anybody. I think he got it off over Evan Mobley, who's got an incredibly big wingspan himself. I already talked about him on defense. He's really good at moving his feet. I mean, that's what this guy was advertised to be, was a great defensive center. Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year in college. Averaged like 3 blocks a game for his career or something like that. I think he's got really good instincts, really good timing. So, I think that this guy's ready for NBA development. Like, he needs to get out there and play some minutes.
Yeah, and it's something that you and I have both talked about that the Kings need is they need a rim protector. And they have a rim protector. Everyone's been talking about trading and, signing guys. They have a guy that is a rim protector. He's been stashed in Stockton working on his game. I like Keita a lot. It's just, where does he really fit in on this team, especially when this team is healthy? You mentioned he plays better at the 5.
They have a ton of centers on this team.
They need a 4.
But all the more reason for them to trade some of these guys, right?
Yeah. Do you think him
Clear
and Rashawn
up some
Holmes,
playing time for him?
You think him and Rashawn would fit together in the 4-5? Would you play Rashawn at the 4 and Keita at the 5?
I don't like playing Rashawn at the 4 just because Rashawn, their games, you want them in the same spot. You want them screening your primary ball handler, rolling to the basket, looking for a lob or a dump off inside. Both of those guys are going to play the same type of way.
Yeah.
And in today's game, you don't have those two traditional low post players out there at the same time anymore. You need more floor spacing. The Kings need more shooting overall on the court. So I don't necessarily like the idea of playing them together. And I don't know if Keita's ready for a starting role just yet. I think he has the potential to grow into that spot for sure. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see him come off the bench at the 5, play more minutes. I would be totally happy with trading Tristan Thompson, Alex Len, even maybe Damian Jones. If you're going to get back a starting power forward or some shooting, some wing depth in return for that, and you have this guy that you can then fill into that role at the backup 5, I think that's a good move for the Kings.
Yeah, we talked about how there's so many point guards in this team, so many big men on this team, but they really have a lack of depth at the wing position. You got to make some moves. You got to shuffle these guys around to fill in these extra positions and, make sure that their depth is at every position and not just at 2 of them.
Right.
And that they have a starting quality shooting guard, a starting quality power forward. Phoenix says, is there a point where you are completely done with this franchise?
I'll let you take that one.
I mean, it's been 15 years since they made the playoffs. So I still am very, very convinced that this team will overcome the hump. I am still a Kings fan. There probably is a point. I just don't know exactly what that is. I think I'm going to be a Kings fan for the foreseeable future. If it's 10 more years and not making the playoffs, I'm probably still going to root for the team as long as they're in Sacramento, as long as they're trying. Obviously, I want them to make the playoffs. I want them to get better and better. If I need to be the GM of the team to get them back to the playoffs, I'm willing to take on the job. But I'm not ready for that yet. So I'm going to stick with the Sacramento Kings. And, if I need to move back to Sacramento and I need to take on GM duties to get this team back to the playoffs, I'm ready.
Hey, you have my vote.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that.
And I got some good trades I want to talk about here in the next section, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that.
Everybody's
Joey says
favorite topic, right? Vinny, hit the air horn.
Yeah. Joey says Kings for life, baby. Yeah, I am. And Kristen says, unfortunately, I'm the same. I'm stuck with this goddamn team. 100%. The more time you watch them suck, the better you feel when they actually win. I agree with all you guys. As long as they're in Sacramento, I'm going to root for this team. And, honestly, even if they move, I'll probably root for them too. When my Rams move from St. Louis back to L.A., still a Rams fan.
I can't really imagine a world where I don't still, some part of me doesn't still root for the teams that I've always rooted for.
Yeah, exactly.
I just can't really imagine that.
He really doesn't, Michael. His moves are predictable and soft. He gets stripped and or loses control of the ball all the time. His defense isn't great. Obviously not particularly great at anything. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Who are we talking about there?
Afghan is talking about something somebody said. Oh, maybe Bagley. Oh, no. But Michael says, I prefer to see him start over Bagley. He's probably talking about Keita.
Skip says he's ready in 3 minutes.
I can't root for a non-California team. Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm not rooting for the Lakers. So that leaves me here.
He'll be in there in 3 minutes, but
that leaves me here rooting for the Sacramento Kings, and I'm gonna continue to root for the Kings. I don't care how long it takes. We're making the playoffs, and it's gonna be sweet when it does. And one thing that you guys should all just remember is that the longer it takes for them to get good, the better it is, the sweeter it is. And everyone's going to remember, all the fair weather fans are all shaken out by now. And as soon as the Kings get good, you guys are going to see it. All your neighbors, all your classmates are going to be like, oh, I'm a Kings fan. I've been a Kings fan. I was born in Sacramento. I've been rooting for the Kings.
It sounds like we're talking about crypto.
I know.
It's like, oh man, people have been telling me about Cardano for years, and it was supposed to go to $10 this year, and it sucks, man. I'm just losing money on it.
Everybody bought it $3,
yep.
And now they're in the shit. Yeah, I mean, I root for the Warriors too, but I'm a Kings fan, man. I was born in Sacramento, so I got to go for my Kings. And, back to what I was saying, it's going to get sweeter and sweeter. And just, look yourself in the mirror. If you're still rooting for the Kings, if you're watching this podcast, you're a real fan, because real fans still root for their teams no matter what the record is. And like I said, they're going to get good one day. They're going to turn it around, and then everyone's going to pile on. They're going to be like, my mom's sister was born in Sacramento, so I'm a Kings fan. Or I went to Sacramento when I was 5 years old. I'm a Kings fan. All this. They're all going to pile in here, and you're going to know you're a real Kings fan, and we're going to know too, because we see you all in the chat. And when this blows up and we got 1,000 people watching us and they're all going off in the chat, I'm going to know B. Walston is a Kings fan. I'm going to know Phoenix is a Kings fan. I'm going to know John is a real Kings fan. I'm going to know all y'all are real Kings fans because you have been here, and it will get better. Trust me, it will get better. All right, Cal, you want to talk any more about this game? You ready to move on?
I think we can move on, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So just real quick, I got to say it again. Kings lose. Another awesome loss.
Thanks, Phoenix.
For the Sacramento Kings.
Appreciate that, man.
We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to dive deeper into your Sacramento Kings with Around the Crown.